Khalid. In the 2020 Delhi riots case, we will take you through the big takeaways of the Supreme Court order. Also on Prime 5 today, from Greenland to Cuba, after US attacked Venezuela, Trump has now warned a slew of countries as the world remains on tenterhooks. The question is, who comes next? We'll be tracking that as well for you, but first the headlines. Supreme Court denies bail to Sharjeel Imam. Umar Khalid in the 2020 Northeast Delhi riots case says cannot treat all individuals equally for bail. Battleground Tamil Nadu escalates. Home Minister attends Pongal event in Trichy. Ahmed takes sunrise jibe at Chief Minister Saleem. Karnataka stabbing horror. 30-year-old Dalit woman stabbed to death. Accused found dead in forest. BJP calls it love jihad. Hindu outfits call for Bandh. Prime Minister Modi to visit Somnath Temple on January 11th. Prime Minister will pay tribute to 1,000 years of Somnath Temple's resilience. Says temple symbolizes eternal spirit of India. US President Donald Trump's big remark says US is in charge of Venezuela. Asserts he will get the oil flowing. US President Donald Trump issues a fresh warning to India, says Washington will raise tariffs on New Delhi if it continues importing Russian oil. Trump claims Prime Minister Modi knew he was not happy. Starting off with some breaking news from the poll-bound state of Tamil Nadu. The BJP sources say that BJP is now seriously exploring an alliance with the TVK. While Union Home Minister Ahmed, who is there in Tamil Nadu on a 2-day visit, has asked the unit to take on the DMK at every level, and has also said that they should rather begin early candidate identification and work towards a grand alliance framework by Pongal. Equally telling was what did not happen. Sources point out that Union Home Minister Ahmed did not meet EPS in Trichy, a move seen as a deliberate and strategic move. The message perhaps is that the NDA cannot be limited by one party or one leader and must bring together all anti-DMK forces from AMMK and PMK. And for more on this, my colleague Veera is now joining me live. Veera, first up, yesterday we saw Shah saying that BJP and AIDMK are natural alliances, and now he perhaps is eyeing towards a TVK alliance as well with the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Look, this is pretty much the BJP sending out a categorical message that it's NDA in charge in Tamil Nadu, not just Edapadi Panichami or the EPS. And the reason for that is to try and conglomerate other forces, the smaller forces, the fragments of the erstwhile AIADMK, which refuse to come under EPS's leadership. Because even with the TVK, the key problem for the AIADMK is about enforcing EPS, Edapadi Panichami, the General Secretary and the undisputed leader of the AIADMK today, as the chief ministerial face. So it may be a message across from the BJP to bring in other factions which are rival to Edapadi Panichami as well under the NDA umbrella. But a TVK alliance could be one of hope for the BJP, because the fundamental core nature of the TVK and its base as far as the minorities in Tamil Nadu is concerned and its political stand may make it very difficult for the TVK to have an overt alliance with the BJP. But one can't rule out any kind of subtle or covert understanding between the two parties. But this is pretty much a message from the Home Minister and the BJP sending out that, look, it's only a large alliance, a rainbow alliance that can challenge the DMK in the state and not based on one personality or one party in the IDMK.
Right, Veera. Stay with us. We also have my colleague Vasudha joining me live. Vasudha, Veera there pointing out how Shah wants all anti-DMK forces to come together, and we're also learning that Shah did not meet EPS in Trichy. What kind of a message does that send across, Vasudha?
Well, Rahisha, there are three important points that the Home Minister has made while in Trichy today. Remember, Trichy is part of the Delta district. This is where Karunanidhi used to contest from. This is extremely important for the AIDMK. This is also considered the bastion of AIDMK in many ways. There are a couple of important points that Amit Shah has made. One, he wants the BJP, the AIDMK-BJP alliance, the NDA alliance to take on the DMK at every level. He wants, before Pongal, a grand alliance to be set up with all, anti-DMK, non-UPA forces coming together. He believes that it's only collective unity that's going to work together against the DMK. He's certainly very confident that the DMK is on a weak spot, but he wants the NDA to fight to win, not just to challenge the DMK. He has made it very clear in all internal meetings that this is not a year where you can expect a hung assembly. He wants the NDA to get outright majority, not just play a kingmaker. As far as an alliance with TVK is concerned, I agree with what Veera said. The alliance with TVK is being explored. This happened a few months ago, but remember that Vijay would want to be the chief ministerial candidate, and the BJP, the NDA will only be okay with a united front with no CM face as of now. So that is not a condition that Vijay could be agreeable with. But yes, that exploration is still on. But yes, Mr. Shah has made it very clear that all NDA forces, all disgruntled parties with the AIDMK need to come together. All non-UPA forces need to come together, and no stone needs to be left unturned when it comes to challenging the DMK. This is what he has told his party cadre, and he has told them that a grand alliance needs to be set up before Pongal this month.
Right, Vasudha. We'll of course be tracking this very closely with you, but stay with us. We'll come back to you in our next story as well. All right, we're still on with all that's happening in Tamil Nadu ahead of polls there in the state. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is in poll-bound Tamil Nadu. He's there on a two-day visit, and this is the second day of his visit, and he was in Trichy earlier today. The Union Home Minister took part in BJP's Pongal celebrations there. On the first day, Amit Shah addressed a gathering in Pudukkottai district where he launched a scathing attack on the MK Stalin-led DMK government. He alleged that, and I'm quoting here, Hindu sentiments are being hurt by the DMK government as Hindu processions were not being allowed in the state. He also alleged that 20% commission is a norm in the state and that DMK is the most corrupt government. Meanwhile, DMK called all these allegations baseless, asserting that DMK is not an anti-Hindu party. DMK's Ellen Govan also said that Amit Shah is ignorant of politics in Tamil Nadu. All right, that was all that has happened in the poll-bound state of Tamil Nadu. Take a look at the reaction that have been coming in on this.
हिंदुओं के प्रोसेशन पर स्टे लगा दिया जाता है, हिंदुओं के मूर्ति विसर्जन पर भी स्टे लगाने का काम डीएमके सरकार करती है। मैं स्टालिन जी को कहना चाहता हूं, हमारे संविधान की मर्यादाओं को आपने हिंदू समाज पर अत्याचार कर तोड़ने का काम किया है। मित्रों, इस बार दीवार पर लिखा हुआ मैं पढ़ पाता हूं कि अप्रैल 2026 में तमिलनाडु में एनडीए सरकार बनने जा रही है।
They cannot claim that we are against Hindus. The party itself was started for Hindus. That they should understand. If anybody knows the politics here, they will understand that Amit Shah does not know the politics of Tamil Nadu. That is what his speech proves. They cannot claim that they are for Tamil Nadu. They have acted as anti-Tamils and they are doing it. So whatever they speak, the people of Tamil Nadu will understand and throw them out. They can never form a government in the Tamil Nadu. That much the BJP should understand because of their anti-Tamil mindset, I am telling this.
People of Tamil Nadu are now labeling the DMK, the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, as dynastic Munnetra Kazhagam. and Home Minister Amit Shah ji very truly reflected the prevailing sentiment in Tamil Nadu when he said that the people have made up their mind to defeat and resolve to reject the failure model DMK government, which has now become synonymous with corruption. Also, the people are opposing the anti-people rule of the DMK, whose only goal is now to anoint through MK Stalin's son to the top position.
Well, the political battle is heating up in Tamil Nadu after Union Home Minister Amit Shah took a jibe at DMK, accusing the party of nepotism. And now, BJP ally AIADMK too has hit out at DMK with the nepotism charge. AIADMK General Secretary Edapadi Palaniswamy said that Deputy Chief Minister Udayinidhi Stalin got the post only because he belongs to Karunanidhi's family. But it's not just that. EPS earlier, Amit Shah too said that the same thing, and that's during his speech on January 4th. Shah said that MK Stalin's main aim is to make Udayinidhi the chief minister, adding first it was Karunanidhi, then MK Stalin, and now Udayinidhi. Mr. Stalin, your dream will not come true. While accusing the party of dynastic politics, corruption and failure to ensure women's safety. Take a listen.
तमिलनाडु सरकार का एकमात्र उद्देश्य है स्टालिन जी के बेटे उदयनिधि को मुख्यमंत्री बनाना। पहले करुणानिधि जी, फिर स्टालिन जी और अब उदयनिधि। स्टालिन बाबू, आपका ये स्वप्न पूरा नहीं होने वाला है।
Some breaking news from the poll bouncer of Tamil Nadu now. The question being, will DMK MP Kanimudi contest the assembly polls? Because sources tell us that Lok Sabha MP and DMK parliamentary party chief is keen to contest the assembly polls. Perhaps projecting, this is the video which you see on your screens right now, projecting her as leader of the people. This video was released on her birthday today, and perhaps this video is an assertion of her political space in DMK. Kanimudi is seen as a threat to Udayinidhi Stalin. And for more on this, my colleague Veera is now joining me live. Veera, what more can you tell us with speculations doing the round whether Kanimudi is keen to fight the state polls?
That's right. A final call will be taken by MK Stalin. He is the undisputed leader as far as the DMK is concerned. But sources tell us that Kanimudi may be keen to assert herself in state politics as well. Remember, she's the DMK parliamentary party chief, head of the DMK's manifesto committee, one of the most powerful woman faces, in fact, the most powerful woman face of the DMK. Someone who's seen as the ideological, with the lineage of the ideological lineage from M. Karunanidhi, and someone who's been consistent on the ideological platform. She has so far been more in national politics, more in Delhi, less in state politics, but there is a sense that she may want to assert herself in state politics because this election is seen as crucial, not just from the DMK's point of view vis-a-vis the other rivalries that it has with the BJP, but in terms of the internal power equations and the succession plan in the DMK itself. Udayinidhi Stalin categorically becoming the deputy chief minister. So in these elections, there is a sense, according to sources, that Kanimudi may be keen to assert herself in state politics as well and carve her space out, not relegate herself completely from a challenge within the state politics. She is seen as perhaps the threat to Udayinidhi Stalin's succession. We'll have to see how this plays out. Right. But according to sources, on her birthday today, that video that's been released, which is quite powerful in terms of projecting her as a future leader, is a reassertion from her of her position in state politics and perhaps her interest in playing a more strong role in the assembly elections to come. Also remember, an important election, and the DMK wants to put all the weight it can in those elections. So multiple factors at play there.
Right, we're absolutely, and that video clearly encapsulates what you've been saying, how she has been projected as a true leader. And like you mentioned, Stalin is the one who will be making a call on her decision. But Kanimudi is also perhaps seen as a threat to Udayinidhi Stalin till today.
That's right. There are multiple internal power rivalries in the DMK, though it's not open in nature. Udayanithi Stalin, since he was appointed the Deputy Chief Minister, has been seen as the prime face of succession to Stalin. So this is perhaps a reassertion that there are other leaders as well wanting to carve their space within the DMK. It's not a power tussle in the sense which is coming out open, but there are, of course, undercurrents that have been playing out for a while. But we believe that, according to sources, that she may be keen to contest these assembly elections to send out perhaps a message of her relevance and importance in state politics. We have to wait and see how this plays out.
Well, absolutely, Veera, we'll be tracking all of that with you very closely as the Tamil Nadu is just a few months away from polls. Moving on to other news, a 30-year-old Dalit woman was stabbed to death in a public place in Uttar Kannada's Yelapur. The accused, identified as Rafiq Imam Saab, who was known to the victim, has now been found dead, hanging from a tree in a nearby forest. Police say he was the prime suspect in the murder. The victim, Ranjita Bhanasore, was returning home from work when she was allegedly attacked. That's after refusing pressure to marry. Police say that the two knew each other since school days. Meanwhile, Karnataka BJP chief has attacked the state government, calling the incident a home ministry failure and accusing the chief minister and the home minister of giving clean chits even before investigations are completed. Police say further investigation and probe is underway right now.
In Rafiq ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬ ಯುವಕನೇನು ಹತ್ಯೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಇಡೀ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲೂ ಸುದ್ದಿ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಾನು ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಮಾನ್ಯ ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರಾಗಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾಗಲಿ ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಘಟನೆಗಳು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಮರುಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಖಂಡನೀಯ ಇದೆ. ಇನ್ನು 2 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಹುಬ್ಬಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನೇಹಾ ಹಿರೇಮಠ್ ಆ ಘಟನೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವ್ಯಾರೂ ಕೂಡ ಮರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಗೃಹ ಇಲಾಖೆ ನಿಷ್ಕ್ರಿಯ ಆಗಿರುವ ಪರಿಣಾಮವೇ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಕರಣಗಳು ಮರುಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರಾಗಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾಗಲಿ ಇಂಥ ಘಟನೆಗಳು ನಡೆದಾಗ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಇಲಾಖೆ ತನಿಖೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡೋ ಮುಂಚಿತವಾಗಿಯೇ ಇದು ಲವ್ ಜಿಹಾದ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಚಿಟ್ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರ ಪರಿಣಾಮನೇ ಇಂಥ ದುಷ್ಕೃತ್ಯಗಳು ಮರುಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
देखिए, जो रफ़ी का नाम का लड़का एक जो लड़की का कत्ल किया है, ये तो बहुत बेशरम घटना घट चुकी है. हम इसको कंडेम भी करते हैं. ऐसा तो लग रहा है कर्नाटक में जो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन है वो कंप्लीट फेल्योर हो चुका है. एक तरफ बल्लारी में ओपन फायरिंग होता है, दूसरे तरफ दिन दहाड़े एक लड़की का मर्डर होता है. तो ये लोगों का अल्पसंख्यक तुष्टीकरण नीति जो कांग्रेस सरकार रवैया है उसके मद्देनजर ये सभी होने के लिए चालू हो चुका है.
And we have yet another horrifying breaking news for you. Yet another horrific crime against a Hindu in Bangladesh. NDTV has now learned that a 40-year-old woman was gang raped by 2 men, tied to a tree and tortured. The horrific crime happened in Kaliganj area in Jandhya. The victim, Shirley Ghosh, is currently being treated at a local hospital. NDTV spoke to the relatives of the woman and found out that she is a widow. Her husband died over 2 years ago. And well, for more on this, my colleague Aditya is now joining me live. Aditya, the persecution against Hindu minorities in Bangladesh, it just does not seem to come to an end. Yesterday, Konkan Das was the 4th Hindu to be killed in Dhaka, and the latest coming in, a 40-year-old widow gang raped in Bangladesh.
Well, that's right, Rahesha. We're breaking this first here on NDTV. This is the 3rd barbaric act against Hindu minority in Bangladesh that we are breaking earlier. We had Deepu Chatradas and Khokan Das being almost lynched to death by the Islamist radicals under the nose of Muhammad Yunus government. And now this barbaric act of rape against a Hindu minority woman that is coming to light from Bangladesh. We are picking up that this happened in Kaliganj in Janadea area, where two miscreants, the local miscreants who were after this particular woman, raped her on Saturday night. That's what we are learning. She was admitted at the Janeda Sadar Hospital, and the accused Shaheen, along with his associate Hassan, also spread videos on various social media platforms showing the woman tied through a tree and her hair being cut. So it's not just the barbaric rape that has happened, but also videos taken of the torture that the woman suffered, and at the same time her hair has been cut as well. There's been no action whatsoever by the Yunus government, no condemnation at the highest level, and no appropriate steps being taken to set a precedent so that such acts against the minorities, be it Hindus, Christians, Buddhists or Ahmadiyas, do not take place. So under the Muhammad Yunus pro-Islamist government's power, we are seeing regular events against the Hindu minorities in Bangladesh.
Right, Aditya. And also yesterday, apart from the INB Minister of Bangladesh comes out and says that their sentiments have been heard. But the question is, what kind of sentiments at this point of time when the Yunus-led interim government has clearly failed to take any action against the atrocities, the persecution that have been going on against Hindus in Bangladesh so far?
Well, absolutely, Raisha. That's the moot question, really. The Bangladesh government advisors may come out in media and spread propaganda against India. They may set some kind of a narrative to appease the Islamist forces or the radicals down in Bangladesh. But no steps whatsoever have been taken by the Bangladesh government or the Yunus regime against such radical Islamist elements and those who are trying to target selectively Hindu minorities all across Bangladesh. Ever since Sheikh Hasina has been removed violently from power in August last year, we've seen now several such events taking place, be it places of worship of the minorities, Hindus or Christians or Buddhists, or even, people who just go to worship or their daily life. Such was the case with Deepu Chandradas and Khokan Das, who were blamed for blasphemy, completely fake allegations. That's what people found out. And now yet another woman now being raped from the Hindu minority by two local Islamist elements, and no action whatsoever. The Bangladesh government says that the IPL player from Bangladesh being removed has hurt their sentiments. But what about the sentiments of those who have lost their lives, who are from the Hindu minority and being targeted only for being Hindus or Christians and Buddhists in Bangladesh?
Well, absolutely, Aditya. And NDTV is the first channel to break this news. We also spoke to the local police there who confirmed the crime and that both the accused have been arrested. Of course, Aditya, the point you made there earlier, that there have been no steps taken for the safety of the Hindu minorities there in Bangladesh. They say that the sentiments have been heard at this point of time. But on ground, it's been more than a month and we've been reporting on the slew of cases, attacks, and now a gang rape of a widow in Bangladesh at this point of time, perhaps raising pertinent questions on the safety of Hindus in Bangladesh.
Absolutely right, Rahesha. Instead of taking steps for course correction by the Yunus government in Bangladesh, instead of sending out a strong message for safety and security of the minorities in Bangladesh, instead the Bangladesh government is targeting Indian government and the Indian media for spreading such news and calling out the reality of the Bangladesh government. Remember, NDTV has been relentlessly reporting from ground the political situation, the chaos, and of course the situation of the Hindu minorities in Bangladesh. My colleague Ankit Tyagi has been down in Bangladesh for the last many days reporting the ground reality of the situation. But the big question really, will the Yunus government really wake up and take corrective measures, or will it continue to appease the Islamist elements and such targeted assassinations, killings and lynchings only continue?
But absolutely, Aditya. Stay with us. I'll come back to you shortly in our next break news as well. All right, this is from the United States of America now. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, his house has been attacked. Cincinnati police and Secret Services agents, they have now responded to J.D. Vance's home. The picture which we'll show you in moments from now, and that's the picture on your screens right now. It shows smashed window at the Vice President's Ohio home. What we do know so far is that the suspect has been arrested. Shots were fired at the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance's home. They rather saw a person running in an eastward direction. This is what has been reported so far. And the U.S. Vice President's house windows have also been smashed, and a man has now been arrested. My colleague Aditya is still here with us. Aditya, what more can you add to this? Perhaps vandalism at the U.S. Vice President's house in Ohio.
Well, again, a very serious development coming in from the United States. None other than, in fact, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, has been attacked. His house has been attacked. In fact, what we are learning is that the Cincinnati police and the Secret Service responded to the Vice President J.D. Vance's home in East Walnut Hills around 12:15 a.m. early Monday morning after spotting a suspect running away. Windows were damaged and a suspect was arrested as well. Vance, we are now learning, was not at home when this event took place. The authorities expect to release more details in a couple of hours from now. So there's a massive investigation that's underway. Cincinnati police and the Secret Service are at top of this development. We do not know the identity of the one suspect who has been arrested at this particular stage, but this is a very, very serious and sensitive development coming in that the US Vice President's home has been attacked. There are several windows that have been completely smashed. Whether shots were fired or not, we are trying to confirm that and to get more details as to what the issue really was. Was this some mentally unstable person or from a particular ideology targeting J.D. Vance? This also comes just hours after J.D. Vance tried to defend US President's position on Venezuela and said it was important to go after the drunk kingpin Maduro in this particular case.
Right, absolutely, Aditya. Just to add to what you said, it's not known if Vance's family were inside the home at that time. And of course, the US Vice President owns the property which overlooks the Ohio River there. But Aditya, talk to us more about how this is not the first time that such an incident has taken place in the United States of America. We've seen in the past as well that we have the lawmakers and the leaders, how their house, it has been vandalized, windows have been smashed, perhaps raising pertinent questions on the law and order situation in the United States of America at this point of time.
Well, that's right. Of course, there have been several such incidents. In fact, just a couple of years ago, we had the huge break inside the Capitol Hill, none other than the Capitol Hill, where, a huge mob had entered. That raised several questions on the security scenario, not just in Washington, D.C., but several important sensitive locations. And regularly, we've seen events where protesters have turned violent as well, tried to target security forces and lawmakers. But in this particular case, we are breaking first details of this attack at the house of the United States Vice President J.D. Vance. Initial details that are trickling in that the Secret Service and the Cincinnati police are investigating this person who has been arrested. One suspect has been arrested. He's being interrogated at this particular stage on his identification, his background, and what his purpose really was to target J.D. Vance's home. Whether there are more people involved in this entire targeting of the Vice President's home. Perhaps there will be a press conference by the Cincinnati police in a couple of hours from now, but these are the initial details that we are picking up. A couple of photographs that we have accessed clearly indicate a few windows completely smashed. Initial details also that we have is that J.D. Vance perhaps was not at his home, at this particular home. His family was also not there, but certainly corrective measures and security has been beefed up in this entire area.
Absolutely, Aditya, and NDTV has broken this news first. The US Vice President's residence there attacked in Ohio. Thanks for getting us the latest on this, Aditya. Well, for now, we're slipping into a very short break, but come right back. Cross-line for you here on Prime 5.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Masterstroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
NDTV presents the Masterstroke Art Awards, an odyssey of creative brilliance where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians
is an expression of our Atmanirbharta.
It's actually quite a formidable jury, so I think we'll reveal a lot more as we go along.
This is an amazing platform, I think, today what you're doing.
Honoring the masters who define our creative landscape. Coming soon on the NDTV network.
From the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They're now India's smallest, but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to. And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship. The line of control, Shifa Ur, NDTV. Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
Every winter, the World Economic Forum at Davos becomes the world's thinking room, where power, policy and purpose converge, where the future is examined and reimagined. In January 2026, NDTV will be at the heart of this conversation. NDTV Ignite at Davos, this January on the NDTV network.
It is Asia's richest civic body. 2026 begins with Big Bang BMC Port. High-stakes Mumbai battle loading. Can BJP extend Maha-winning streak? Existential fight for the Sena. Can the Congress strike a comeback? Maha-civic body, massive implications. NDTV tracks the Maha build-up, battleground BMC.
Are you ready for the best show in town? NDTV Golf Pro-Am. We are coming to your city. Stay tuned.
All right, team, our new order show is ready. Now we
Welcome back. You're watching Prime 5 with me, Raisha Saigal, and this is a big story right now. After attacking Venezuela, US President Donald Trump has now warned a slew of countries from Cuba, Colombia to Greenland. What happens next? Who is next after Maduro? We will be tracking that, and also the latest from Venezuela after Maduro will be appearing at the court later today. All right. So the US President Donald Trump has doubled down on his Venezuela remarks, saying that the US is now in charge following the strike on Caracas. Trump called Venezuela a dead country, defended the operation, and pushed for US oil companies to rebuild its infrastructure, even as his Secretary of State Marco Rubio insists that Washington will not run day-to-day operations. Now, ousted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is set to make his first court appearance in New York today after being captured in a surprise US operation. Maduro and his First Lady, Celia Flores, faces narco-terrorism, cocaine trafficking and weapons charges, marking an unprecedented moment in US-Latin America relations. Meanwhile, in a speech broadcast on Sunday, Venezuela's defense minister rejected any notion that the United States would run his country and maintained that the government that was in place under Maduro is still in charge. Trump has also issued a direct warning to Venezuela's interim leader. He says if she does not do what's right, she'll face a price bigger than Maduro. Rodriguez, Maduro's former vice president, has assumed power after Venezuela's top court named her the acting president. All right, also, Venezuela's defense minister, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, is sounding a global alarm. He says that the US action against Caracas threatens the world order, warning that today Venezuela, tomorrow any country. He further calls Maduro's capture a kidnapping, urges calm at home, and says that the armed forces should remain united against what he calls imperial aggression. All right, so the US has struck Venezuela and captured its president, Nicolas Maduro. But it does not seem to be good enough for the US president, who has always had big ambitions. And in his second term as the US president, it appears that Trump right now, he's trying to achieve them, at least the geographical ambitions that he has. US President Donald Trump took office promising to annex Greenland and take back the Panama Canal. And now he has ousted the Venezuelan President Maduro. He has also issued a warning to other countries. But the big question right now is what comes next? Who is next after Maduro? Following the United States capture of Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president, and Trump's declaration that Washington would run the South American nation for now, the US leader has now set his sights on the entire hemisphere as well as Greenland. Trump has renewed his calls for an American takeover of the Danish territory of Greenland. Not just that, it has also threatened military action on Colombia for facilitating the global scale of cocaine, which his top diplomat declaring the communist government in Cuba is in a lot of trouble. Now, all these comments by the US president underscores the fact that the US administration is serious about taking a more expansive role in Western Hemisphere. Not just that, with thinly veiled threats like these, not just to Venezuela, but rather to Cuba, Colombia, a pertinent question arises, is that after Maduro, who is next? Meanwhile, the Greenland Prime Minister has reacted to Trump's threat and said, and I'm quoting him here, "No more pressure, no more insinuations, no more fantasies of annexation. We are open to dialogue. We are open to discussions, but this must happen through the proper channels and with respect of international law. And that's the statement from the Greenland Prime Minister as the US President Donald Trump goes on and says that US needs Greenland. Take a listen to what Trump said.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
All right, so after Venezuela, who comes next? Because we've seen in the last 24 hours, the US President Donald Trump has issued a slew of warnings to various countries, and we'll take you through who is on Trump's radar after Venezuela. First up is Greenland. It's the Danish territory which is on the US President Donald Trump's radar, because Trump, you just heard his bite, he said that we do need Greenland. And that's what Trump said, that we are in need of Greenland. Trump's aide's wife post then says soon, reacting to what Trump said. So that was about Greenland, which is on Trump's radar. The second country is Colombia. Trump has issued a warning to Colombia saying stop sending drugs. Trump has also issued a warning to the Colombian president, Petro, saying we are watching you. And of course, he used derogatory words, which we of course cannot use it here. Moving on, Trump then said to Colombia that it is perhaps a failing country and Colombia, pardon me, that's Cuba, will fall soon. Let's also now take you through another country which is on Trump's radar, which is Mexico. Trump has said that cartels are running it and we will have to do something about it. Then, about Panama, Trump has rather threatened to take control of Panama Canal. Apart from Panama, Cuba, Colombia, Iran is also on Trump's radar. Trump earlier struck nuclear sites last year, that is. He said intervention warning amid recent demonstrations in Iran. There's also Canada on Trump's list. Trump keeps calling it, we've seen that multiple times. The US president calls Canada the 51st state of the United States of America. Hence, these are some of the countries which are under Trump's radar and can perhaps fall next after Venezuela. Let's also now tell you about the countries which the United States of America has bombed last year in 2025. Number 1, Yemen. This happened in January 12th to May 6, 2025. The second country that US bombed was Somalia. That happened in the time frame from February to December. After that, Iraq, the bomb strikes in March 13th, 2025. Then Iran, June 22nd, 2025. Syria, which happened recently on December 19th, 2025. And lastly, Nigeria, December 25th, 2025. And well, for more on this, my colleague Aditya is now joining me live. Aditya, from Greenland to Cuba to Mexico, Trump has been issuing warnings to all these countries. The question right now is, of course, who comes next? And what does all this tell us about till what extent can the US president go in his second term in pursuit of his foreign policy goals?
Well, Raisha, if there's something that we know about Trump since last over a year of him becoming the president for the second time in United States, it's that he's unpredictable. And this time around, he's ready to take steps that are unheard of. Be it the tariffs issue that he did all through 2025, and this time around the threats that he is posing, to several countries that he blames for drug trafficking. Of course, the U.S. Delta forces did go inside Venezuela, and an unprecedented step really, and a benchmark has been set by him. So there are several other countries in his radar, from Colombia to Cuba to, of course, Iran as well. And there's a big message that he's sending out to Russia and China as well. But what is emerging the weakest link in this entire debate is Europe. How will the European Union really defend Ukraine at a time when US is violating sovereignty of a particular country, in this case Venezuela, and capturing its leader, a legitimate leader, President Maduro, in this particular case? Of course, in the next few hours, Maduro will be presented inside a court in New York. He has been detained over the last 2 days there. And thereafter, the wrath of the US legal system will take care of the future of the Venezuelan president. But the big question is also around the domestic politics and the governance structure in Venezuela, where US will have a larger role. The US president has already said that US will play a critical role, not just in the governance and the new government formation in Venezuela, but also at the same time on the oil infrastructure and the oil enrichment there, raising several questions whether this is a new colonial system of 2026 that the US president is trying to ignite.
Right, absolutely, Aditya, and we wait and have to see what all Trump does next. As you clearly pointed out, he's an unpredictable US president, but thanks for getting us latest. All right, let's tell you more about all that's happening in Venezuela after Maduro's capture. When asked who's in charge of Venezuela, the US President Donald Trump answered, and I'm quoting him here, "Don't ask me. It's controversial. We are in charge." These are the words of the US President Donald Trump. Trump has doubled down after the US strikes on Caracas, saying that a US helicopter was hit but recovered with no casualties. He called Venezuela a dead country, blamed years of misrule, and said that US oil companies are ready to rebuild its shattered infrastructure. The remarks come as Trump issues big warnings, threatening a second strike on Venezuela, telling Mexico to get its act together, and warning Cuba may be close to collapse, though he says that military action may not be needed. This even as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio insists that the US will not run Venezuela day to day, stressing pressure through an oil quarantine, not occupation. Well, 2 days into regime change, reactions remain split. Support from Israel and France and condemnation from China and Russia. The visuals on your screens right now are of the satellite images. It shows the strike damage at the Fuerte Tiona complex in Mexico. Trump has warned the interim leader, Delcy Rodriguez. The vice president, Vance, calls Venezuela a cartel hub, while Venezuela's military backs Rodriguez, accusing the US of civilian deaths. Let's tell you more about all that's happening in Venezuela. But before that, listen in to what the US President Donald Trump said.
Who's in charge of Venezuela right now? Have you spoken to the newly sworn in president there, Rodriguez? And what are your thoughts on the entire situation? You said the U.S. would run Venezuela.
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
We're in charge.
And well, my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul has spoken to the former Venezuelan ambassador, YK Sinha. Take a listen.
Hello and welcome to NDTV. I'm Aditya Raj Kaul. Over the last few days, there's been a crisis unfolding in Venezuela with the US Delta Force troops, in fact, leading an invasion in the country and then capturing President Maduro. Maduro, in fact, will be produced in a court and thereafter facing the justice and the wrath of the US system. But what does this say about the changing global order and how United States is trying to work out its own hegemonic tactics? Joining us right now is Ambassador YK Sinha, the former ambassador to Venezuela. He's been the High Commissioner to UK and Sri Lanka as well. And of course, he's India's former Chief Information Commissioner. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us and taking out time. Let me begin by asking you your first reaction to what you saw. You've been there back in 2007 to 2010, but that was a different time, certainly. Although socialism was being pushed at that time as well from a former leader. But what are your impressions of what you saw on the television screens and social media of the kind of invasion that happened and the way the president was captured?
Well, it reminds me of a bygone era of gunboat diplomacy. You recall Noriega of Panama was also captured and then brought to the US for justice, again accused of drug trafficking. in this particular case, I think it was expected that the US, after mounting such a large armada on the Caribbean Sea just outside Venezuela, that some action is imminent. And what sort of action, of course, everyone was guessing. But frankly, I didn't expect that in the first few days of the new year, an assault would be launched in this manner. You know, the way he was captured, the stealth with which the Americans moved in, and the fact that they pretty much managed to neutralize the defenses and capture President Maduro and his wife, and then take them to a ship, the Iwo Jima, and then, of course, to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, and then from there, of course, to New York to stand trial. And the visuals of him in handcuffs, blindfolded initially, and then later on walking around, sends a very powerful signal, I would say, to the rest of the world, and certainly the countries in the region.
Well, also, you must have heard Donald Trump when he spoke a day after the capture of President Maduro. And a lot of what he said was less about drug trafficking, a lot about the oil diplomacy and how there is oil infrastructure, at least 19% of it in Venezuela, and how the US companies will now create inroads and try to make Venezuela great again. What were your impressions on that? Is this United States trying to work out a new kind of a colonial system? And also, what kind of a message does it send when we are talking about a multipolar world, but the United States hegemonic tactics clearly out and open?
Well, I mean, what struck me when he said that now we've moved from the Monroe Doctrine to the Donroe Doctrine.
Yeah.
But, this power grab or the land grab or resources grab, whatever you call it, is nothing new, especially regarding with respect to Venezuela. Because, before President Chavez came to power, I think in 1999, Venezuela was ruled by governments which were pro the US, capitalist governments, and the oil production was pretty much in the hands of American and European countries, mainly American. So what happened was that initially in 1976, I think, the National Oil Company of Venezuela, PDVSA, was nationalized, and then in 2007, President Chavez took control. So as a result, a large number of the Americans and European companies, except Chevron, I think, left. So what happened was that the investments that they had made in technology, in machinery over time, got degraded. And the sanctions that followed against Venezuela impacted their oil production and their oil exports. So a country which has the largest reserves of oil was reduced to exporting a minuscule amount compared to what their output was earlier and what the potential is. So I think what has happened is when President Trump says it is our oil and that they're going to run Venezuela, he's harking back to a period where American companies had pretty much the run of the land in Venezuela. And that is why there was a reaction by Venezuelan people, by the voters, and they sort of voted in Chavez, a charismatic socialist leader who was in the army. But of course, President Maduro, his successor, is not the same how do I put it, in the same class or it doesn't have the same charisma that Chavez.
And while speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump said that the United States could quickly raise tariffs if India does not address Washington's concerns. While issuing the warning, Trump also struck a conciliatory note, calling Prime Minister Narendra Modi a good guy and saying that India wanted to keep him satisfied on trade matters. Trump underlined the US has already imposed tariffs of up to 50% on India, including penalties linked to Russian crude imports. The comments come as India-US trade faces pressure, with Indian exports to the US reportedly falling sharply in recent months amid higher tariffs.
I do believe that what he did with India is the chief reason India is now buying substantially less Russian oil. So I hope we pass this bill soon. And after
They wanted to make me happy, basically. He wanted to, Modi's a very good man.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He knew I was not happy, and it was important to make me happy. They do trade, and we could raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be very bad for them.
On that note, we slip into a very short break, but come right back. Lots lined up for you here on NDTV 24/7.
This was one of the most magical, mystical performances we've seen.
This is like a shrine.
Coming and listening to you is like seeing a maestro perform at that shrine.
I think it was when Air sang himself for the longest Qawwali. Yes, that for me was special.
When the first claps came in, I think my only prayers was all of you should be healed. May God give you a lot of prosperity, health, love, long life.
I was mesmerized.
I think it is one of the most magical evenings that I've spent.
बहुत ही अच्छा.
Beautiful.
Oh my God, AR Rehman is unmatchable.
It connected me to some spirituality.
This is India for me. This is India. This India I grew up, and this India I'm seeing now. It will never change.
When you have somebody like an AR Rehman, legend, maestro, I don't know which word should we choose. It was just a treat.
Pulling us
Other
into this
opposition
country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. Stop. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Center.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area.
North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Master Stroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
NDTV presents the Masterstroke Art Awards, an odyssey of creative brilliance where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians is an expression of our Atmanirbharta.
It's actually quite a formidable jury, so I think we'll reveal a lot more as we go along.
This is an amazing platform, I think, today what you're doing.
Honoring the masters who define our creative landscape. Coming soon on the NDTV network.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break.
live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground.
Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling.
They're now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do.
And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude.
We're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship.
The line of control, Shifa Ur, NDTV.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind. I pause.
Good evening. Welcome to Nationwide at 6 on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Your show has been #1 in